Disbelief in Dalton Thursday evening as Chicago's former mayor, who was hired to investigate Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard's administration, revealed the shocking spending of taxpayer dollars.
Drama in Dalton. Credit card transactions amounting to thousands of dollars without explanation and millions more owed to vendors.
A bombshell report highlights just how much financial trouble the village of Dalton is in.
Police say the village is facing financial disaster and they blame the mayor for mismanagement. She says this is all just political.
Residents of Dalton and Thornton Township, long aware of their community's financial struggles, were shocked when former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot revealed a fiscal crisis far worse than expected. The area now faces millions of dollars in debt, exacerbated by years of mismanagement. Frustration with Dalton Mayor and Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard has grown as citizens demand her resignation amid accusations of corruption, favoritism, and financial incompetence. Henyard, however, has shown little remorse or willingness to address the allegations, which include embezzlement, misuse of taxpayer funds, and reckless spending. The announcement of an FBI investigation into her conduct has intensified scrutiny, revealing evidence of lavish personal spending, such as taxpayer-funded luxury vacations, expensive purchases, and wasteful projects. Lightfoot's review of Dalton's finances exposed a staggering $36.5 million deficit in the general fund, symbolizing years of neglect and misappropriation. Reports of Henyard's alleged use of public funds for personal indulgences, including extravagant travel and an $85,000 audit for personal purposes, have further eroded public trust. Thornton Township has also suffered under Henyard's leadership, with critical services like insurance, senior transportation, and food assistance jeopardized due to administrative failures. Vulnerable residents bear the brunt of these decisions, underscoring the human cost of leadership breakdowns. Henyard's absence from essential meetings, including those addressing the insurance crisis, has heightened suspicions about her motives, with critics accusing her of stalling while public resources are misused. Prominent figures, including trustee Chris Gonzalez, have highlighted the severe implications of this neglect, emphasizing the life-altering impact on residents. The FBI investigation has become a beacon of hope for many, offering a chance to restore accountability and justice after years of unchecked authority. Calls for a complete overhaul of leadership are growing, as the community hopes to rebuild from the damage and restore financial stability and trust.
From multiple sources that federal agents are in fact interviewing witnesses as part of a possible investigation that may or may not result in charges.
The controversy surrounding Tiffany Henyard intensified as business owners leveled serious accusations against her administration. They claimed their establishments were unfairly targeted and even shut down for refusing to support political events, endorsed by Henyard. These allegations depict an administration accused of using power for personal and political vendettas, undermining the local economy instead of fostering its growth. Business owners described a climate of fear and retaliation, where declining to align with Henyard's agenda could result in sudden fines, arbitrary regulatory actions, or closures. This perceived misuse of authority has strained the relationship between Henyard's administration and the business community, further eroding public trust. Critics argue that such behavior prioritizes personal political gain over the economic health of local businesses that are vital to the town's prosperity. The fallout extended beyond the business sector, with residents voicing anger over what they see as a blatant disregard for ethical leadership and fair governance. Henyard's detractors point to these incidents as yet more evidence of an administration focused on self-interest rather than community welfare, fueling growing demands for accountability and her resignation. Combined with mounting scandals and allegations of financial mismanagement, these claims have alienated a significant portion of the public, leading many to believe her leadership has become unsustainable. Although Henyard has denied any wrongdoing and dismissed the accusations as baseless attacks, her failure to address the concerns of business owners and residents meaningfully has deepened the crisis. This alleged abuse of power adds another layer to an already extensive list of controversies, leaving many to wonder if her administration can survive the escalating backlash, or if this marks the beginning of the end of her political career.
Or retaliation. Both of the Dalton bars that were raided and shut down last night, we visited the day before as part of our ongoing investigation into allegations of political corruption in Dalton.
They just rushed in here, put police at the front of the door like they was doing a raid on the drug house.
A team of Dalton police officers raided and shut down Pablo's Bar and Cafe and Rinky's Bar and Cafe, both located on Sibley, about a block apart.
Everything going peacefully. Nothing going on. It's like 10 police cars came in and they start pushing customers from here. And he said, if you don't leave, we're going to lock.
The controversy surrounding Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard escalated as employees and business owners accused her of harassment that disrupted livelihoods and cost jobs. Business owners alleged that their licenses were revoked by the village, yet they continued operating under state jurisdiction, further heightening tensions. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot was appointed to investigate the alleged misconduct, marking a turning point in the unfolding saga. Henyard's response was swift and combative, aiming to undermine Lightfoot's efforts from the start. She attempted to deflect blame for Dalton and Thornton Township's escalating issues onto the village trustees, deepening divisions within local government and alienating a skeptical public. Despite mounting evidence of financial mismanagement and corruption, Henyard denied wrongdoing, framing Lightfoot's investigation as a politically motivated attack. However, this narrative began to crumble as the investigation uncovered a troubling pattern of financial irregularities, unexplained deficits, and questionable practices tied directly to Henyard's administration. Lavish spending, extravagant travel, and dubious contracts, justified as community improvements, provided little tangible benefit to residents, and instead highlighted an administration prioritizing self-interest over public needs. Henyard's resistance to the investigation only fueled public outrage. Each revelation from Lightfoot's probe exposed deeper issues, including financial waste, favoritism, and a lack of transparency. Henyard's supporters maintained that she was a victim of a political smear campaign and blamed systemic problems, predating her tenure. Meanwhile, critics argued that her deflection tactics were desperate and unconvincing, portraying her as unwilling to accept responsibility for her administration's failures. As public protests and calls for Henyard's resignation grew louder, the divide between her defenders and detractors widened. Supporters insisted she was unfairly targeted, while critics viewed her refusal to address the allegations as a deliberate evasion of accountability. Lightfoot's findings became a rallying cry for those demanding structural reforms and competent leadership, exposing the broader challenges facing Dalton and Thornton Township. Henyard's refusal to step down only entrenched perceptions of her unwillingness to implement necessary reforms. Her administration's scandals and resistance to transparency turned her tenure into a cautionary tale about unchecked power and failed leadership. The fallout from the investigation underscored the critical importance of accountability and ethical governance. As Dalton and Thornton Township work to rebuild, Henyard's legacy will serve as a stark reminder of the dangers of neglecting public trust and the resilience of a community determined to demand better. Whether she faces legal or political consequences, her time in office will be remembered as a pivotal lesson in the responsibilities of public service.
Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard at the helm of the village's first packed meeting since Dalton trustees passed a resolution last month requiring her to turn over the village's financial records and asking the FBI to investigate her alleged misuse of village funds. The mayor admits to a $2 million deficit, but trustees say
Tiffany Henyard's attempt to involve the FBI in investigating her behavior was both audacious and ultimately counterproductive, exposing the fragility of her administration. Likely aiming to assert her innocence or redirect scrutiny from local investigations, Henyard proposed federal intervention. However, the Board of Trustees swiftly rejected her proposal, overriding her veto with a decisive majority vote. This action highlighted the deepening rift between Henyard and local government officials, underscoring the board's lack of confidence in her leadership. For many residents, her call for FBI involvement seemed less about pursuing accountability and more like a calculated move to control the narrative. Critics saw it as a desperate attempt to deflect attention from the corruption, financial mismanagement, and ethical breaches that had come to define her tenure. The trustees' decision to override her veto reinforced their resolve to maintain local oversight and illustrated Henyard's growing isolation within the corridors of power. The optics of the situation were damaging. While some interpreted her proposal as an implicit admission of the severity of the issues facing her administration, others viewed it as an effort to shift focus to a higher authority and avoid local accountability. The board's swift and decisive vote to nullify her veto sent a clear message of defiance, rejecting what many saw as a futile and misguided maneuver. This episode added yet another layer of controversy to an administration already mired in scandal. Henyard's critics seized the opportunity to frame it as further evidence of her inability to govern effectively or navigate the political landscape. Observers noted how the incident highlighted her apparent prioritization of self-preservation over genuine leadership, as her administration faced mounting allegations of lavish spending, misuse of taxpayer funds, and neglect of pressing community needs. The community's response was telling. Residents voiced frustration over the spectacle, which they viewed as a distraction from the urgent local issues demanding attention. With local services strained, financial mismanagement rampant, and trust in government at an all-time low, many believed Henyard should have focused on addressing these crises head-on, rather than engaging in what appeared to be a performative gesture. For the Board of Trustees, overriding Henyard's veto was not just a rejection of an ill-conceived proposal, it was a statement of their commitment to preserving local control and accountability during a time of escalating crisis. Their decision symbolized a collective effort to stabilize a fractured administration and restore functional governance, signaling their determination to prevent further disruption caused by Henyard's erratic decision-making.
But everybody sees what's going on.
The village, under Henyard's leadership, is cracking down on access, pushing media at tonight's meeting to the very back of the room, almost out of sight of public comment from residents. But their voices were loud and clear.
Everybody cares about the person that's making the mess.
Henyard placing the blame elsewhere.
But only judge when you got both sides of the story, not one side narrative, which is negative narrative.
Under Tiffany Henyard.
Under Tiffany Henyard's leadership, the village has restricted media access during meetings, relegating them to the back of the room, almost out of sight during public comments. Despite this, residents made their frustrations clear. You lie. To us as residents. You do not represent me, and I want you to step down as mayor today to save our village from the deficit you've caused, one resident exclaimed. Another added, the mayor can blame everyone else, but she needs to look at herself. Nobody told her to get on TV and act like that. Everyone cares, except the person making the mess and placing blame elsewhere. While Henyard consistently defends herself, framing criticism as prejudice against Black women, she has avoided addressing allegations about her controversial Las Vegas trip, where she reportedly spent thousands of taxpayer dollars on lodging, meals, and flights.
Hands together at this time and this moment. This is what we got this people, right? Y'all all said my resolution can agree. So guess what? I am the leader. Don't forget I am the leader. They want to hear from the mayor. If y'all ain't learned that yet. Of course I'm going to give away $1 million to help you pay your mortgage and your rent. Of course I am. The mayor, not the trustee that don't do nothing, that only run their mouth. We get scrutinized in the media. For what? Loving on people, showing them that they matter to us. We going through the fires for you.
When it was revealed that Tiffany Henyard had embezzled millions from the general fund, alongside other alleged misappropriations, she seemingly disappeared, avoiding all attempts by news outlets to contact her. The general fund, critical for day-to-day operations, showed a $3.65 million deficit. Police department expenditures had risen by 21%, with 2 officers earning more in overtime than their regular pay as of June 18th. Additionally, 589 checks totaling over $6 million were approved but never sent to vendors. 6 credit cards were used with minimal receipt documentation, and purchases, including $440,000 in Amazon charges, are now under investigation. You may hear many things, but I can assure you the financial information speaks for itself, one official stated.
I knew we were broke, and the way she broke it down and just let the other residents hear what was really going on, because Tiffany Henyard always talk about fake news.
Additionally, it was discovered that the village had excessively used credit cards despite repeated requests for an interview. Mayor Tiffany Henyard did not answer any questions and was reported to be absent from the building. Village staff could not specify when she would return the following day at a packed community meeting. The trust emphasized the facts, underscoring that Han's actions were far from those of a leader serving the people. They highlighted that she had used public funds to support her extravagant lifestyle, revealing a troubling pattern of financial mismanagement and disregard for her community's well-being.
The village's credit card spending is out of control. Mayor Tiffany Henyard didn't respond to any of my requests today, and I'm told she's not in the building. No response to repeated interview requests. I tried to track down Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard in person today. Village employees told me she wasn't in the office and didn't say when she would be, a day after this. A packed community meeting Thursday night, outburst.
Despite numerous attempts to secure an interview, Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard declined to respond or meet in person. Village employees stated she was unavailable and could not confirm her return. The following evening, tensions flared at a packed community meeting as residents expressed mounting frustrations. Henyard's leadership faced intense scrutiny, with community members demanding accountability for the village's financial mismanagement. Amid the growing controversy, Henyard appeared to find new legal allies after firing her former top assistant, Keith Freeman. At a recent board meeting, Henyard's criminal defense attorneys, Bo Brinley and Ed McDavid, sat alongside the village's legal team, closely monitoring the proceedings. Brinley, a federal criminal defense lawyer known for his aggressive tactics, signaled Henyard's preparation for a prolonged legal battle. During a private executive session, her defense team demonstrated her focus on self-preservation amidst an ongoing FBI corruption investigation. Henyard, as expected, maintained her innocence, claiming unjust targeting and accusing trustees of wasting public funds on investigations while portraying herself as the village's only dedicated advocate. The situation was further complicated by Henyard's controversial administrative actions. She appointed L.S. Lacey, previously dismissed by the Dalton Village Council for insubordination, to a prominent role. Lacey's appointment, viewed by many as unlawful, sparked outrage among board members. Adding to the unrest, Lacey had been arraigned on federal bankruptcy fraud charges for allegedly lying under oath to hide assets and income from creditors. While Lacey's legal team denied the charges, the controversy surrounding his appointment deepened the public's mistrust of Henyard's administration. Henyard, once backed by the Thornton Township Board, faced fractures in her support base due to her silence on Lacey's appointment and the growing scandals. A whistleblower from the board alleged Henyard manipulated employees, vendors, and residents to maintain her influence, creating a facade of success funded by taxpayers. Meanwhile, Henyard's latest contentious decision involved appointing Michael A. Smith, a political figure with a controversial past, to a top assistant role with a $100,000 salary. Smith, 34, had a history of legal troubles, including charges of official misconduct and domestic violence. His involvement in a 2012 case where a trustee resigned after pleading guilty to impersonating a police officer raised further integrity concerns. Henyard's unilateral decision to appoint Smith without external approval only fueled outrage. The ongoing FBI investigation, coupled with Henyard's refusal to address the growing financial and administrative issues, intensified calls for her resignation. Residents, trustees, and the wider community questioned her leadership as Dalton grappled with financial instability and deepening mistrust. With each passing day, Henyard's hold on power seemed increasingly tenuous, leaving many to wonder if her time as mayor was nearing its end. The saga of Tiffany Henyard's leadership continued, with the weight of scandals and community discontent threatening to collapse her administration entirely.